Alright, in this video we're going to cover PCOS specific hair loss, and I understand that as a female your hair is often seen as a sign of femininity, so losing your hair is probably one of the hardest things and hardest symptoms to deal with PCOS. But I just want to give you the background of what is actually happening here and then what you can do about it naturally and in terms of medication. So firstly, you have to understand that losing your hair is very normal. Around 40% of women will see some sign of hair loss, usually as you get older, especially around menopause. So obviously that will be hormone related. We think that the reduction in estrogen and progesterone will have impacts on hair growth. So the first type of hair loss, which isn't PCOS specific, is female patterned hair loss. It generally, if you look at the scalp, it will look like a Christmas tree. And as I mentioned, around 30-40% of women will experience some level of female pattern hair loss, usually the older you get. Now, the hair loss mainly associated with PCOS though will be male pattern hair loss. And I know that PCOS is a female specific condition, but male pattern hair loss, or in other words, it's called androgenic alopecia. And it's a hair loss that is contributed to too much androgens, which is male sex hormones, testosterone, DHEA. So it's those too high of levels of androgens in your bloodstream that actually cause your hair to fall out, always on the scalp. You might see a receding hairline, your crown might start showing, but it'll always be here on the scalp. And why that happens is a percentage of the testosterone in your body will be converted into another form, a more potent form of testosterone called dihydrotestosterone, DHT. And if you look here, you can see it's that DHT that is causing this hair loss. So remember, a percentage of your testosterone will be converted into DHT, and it's that what is causing these hair follicles not to be able to grow through, which results in hair loss. So obviously in PCOS, if you have higher amounts of testosterone in your bloodstream, you will naturally have higher amounts of DHT causing these issues. So that PCOS specific hair loss comes down to too high testosterone. It's what's called androgenic alopecia or male pattern hair loss. And the third one, which can also be PCOS related, is simple hormone imbalances. We know hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's, which is the main form of hypothyroidism, also causes hair loss. And we also know low levels of estrogen and progesterone can cause hair loss. So that's what happens at menopause with female pattern hair loss. When you stop having that regular cycle, estrogen and progesterone levels fall away, and that can trigger hair loss as well. So the first thing I would say is go to your doctor and get your total and free testosterone and DHEA levels checked, because it's possible that you'll have normal levels of testosterone in your system but still experience hair loss. So what's happening is you may have high levels of free testosterone. So you may have normal levels of total testosterone, but that percentage of that that's free, which means it's active, it can cause trouble or goodness in the system, may be higher. And we know that might be down to low levels of sex hormone binding globulin, which I've spoken about before, that women with PCOS will normally have lower levels of that. Low levels of sex hormone binding globulin means high levels of free testosterone, which can lead to high levels of DHT, which can lead to that male pattern hair loss. So when you go to your doctor, make sure you get your total and free testosterone levels checked. So in terms of natural treatments, understand this, what we've just spoken about is it's these hormonal imbalances that are manifesting itself into hair loss. Hair loss is a symptom of these hormonal imbalances. So I always like to look at the cause of things. I always like to find the root cause, solve that, and then all of the issues downstream will solve themselves. So the number one thing you want to be doing to reduce your hair loss and make sure your hair grows luscious and thick is to be achieving overall hormonal balance. Now, what does that mean? Because there's many hormones in your body. So whenever anyone says, oh, it's all about hormonal balance, well, what hormones are you talking about? Are they talking specifically about your symptoms? Because when I'm talking about hormonal balance, I'm talking about your specific symptoms. What are the underlying hormonal balances triggering those symptoms? So with PCOS related hair loss, we're really looking at these 4 imbalances. We're looking to manage insulin levels. We do that through low GI, low carbohydrate diet. We do that through regular exercise, specifically resistance exercise and HIIT exercise. And supplementing with inositol, which acts as an insulin sensitizer, 3 to 4 grams a day. If we're looking at overall androgen balance, the two greatest supplements you can take is saw palmetto and zinc. Those two supplements help reduce the conversion of testosterone into DHT. The next one is your thyroid hormone. Thyroid issues and PCOS are correlated. There's a connection there because we see women with PCOS will have higher rates of hypothyroidism and thyroid issues, but we don't understand what that exact cause is. But we know PCOS can trigger hypothyroidism, but it also works in reverse. Hypothyroidism can actually trigger PCOS. So in terms of thyroid health, you're looking at zinc, selenium, and iodine. And just a little thing about iodine is it can mess around with your thyroid medication. So make sure you talk to your doctor before supplementing with iodine. And then we're looking at estrogen and progesterone levels. So some really great supplements to improve estrogen metabolism, DIM, milk thistle, and NAC, and acetylcysteine. And then also for progesterone, you could look at something like bioidentical progesterone cream in the last 2 weeks of the menstrual cycle to mimic that natural flow of progesterone. And in terms of medication, what you want to speak to your doctor about is there's really two main ones we go to. There's minoxidil, which is a cream you apply to your scalp, and then there's anti-androgen drugs. And the most common one is probably spironolactone, which just helps manage androgen levels, helps bring down those testosterone levels. So obviously less conversion to DHT, less hair loss. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about PCOS related hair loss, ask me below, send me a message. I'm here to help, and I'll see you next time.